下面我们安排第二位演讲嘉宾，他来自以色列智慧城市与战略发展公司。那么拉菲先生是一位著名的建筑师，而且是这家公司的执行总裁啊。接下来我们有请拉菲先生做演讲啊。
Thank you, sir. So it's great being here today. Can I have my presentation? Okay. Sure. Okay. No? Okay. So I'll be talking about trust data and governance, and I'll be a bit critical about what I'm saying because I'll be talking about medium-sized cities and then the cities in the global south. So we're not only talking about the big cities, we're talking about what the potential is. Few words about myself and my company. I'm an architect and I'm a planner, and I teach at university, and we consult many cities around the world, and we consult in the connection between governance and policy, public engagement and technology, and nothing is more important. So basically we try and see how to do that based on challenges of the cities. And as I said, we work with many cities in Israel, in Europe. We have some work done in cities in Africa. And in 2017, we were asked by the UN Habitat and Smart Africa Alliance to design the Smart City Master Plan for Rwanda, which was basically the first national plan which was trying to see how we can connect sustainability and the city and technology, looking at the big cities and the small cities at the same time. But again, we're not talking about just technology, we're talking about the challenges and the ideas we're talking about. And the main problem here is the infrastructure, or what we call the service gap of African cities. And the issue is not only there's a problem about not enough clean water and the internet is not strong enough and the electricity is not strong enough, but actually the cities have more and more people that weren't there before, and we don't really know who they are. Okay, many cities here, people living in informal settlements. We don't know who they are, we don't know what they need, we don't know where they work. So the issue is not only giving them housing, but actually allowing them to be part of the system. And as we know, the business as usual solutions of big power plants, big internet, big water solutions does not solve it because it doesn't get to the right people. So we actually need a new set of tools. We need a new urban tools, and we need new technological tools, and we need new financial tools. So we have been talking about smart cities, and it started in 2008 with branding. The tech vendors decided they want to make business, and then until more or less now, cities are exploring smart cities, trying to examine what it's going to do for the city itself, how we can combine together with planning. But actually we're looking at the third generation, which is the shared economy or sharing, because most of the resources are actually in the private sector. So if the resources are in the private sector, we have to combine, we have to work together. But the problem about working with the private sector is the issue of trust. And we're talking about trust between the municipalities and the citizens and vice versa, and between the citizens and the state. No one believes one another, everyone thinks that no one else understands what they're talking about. So we have to create a new system, which is not trust, which is actually believing, but issue of expectations. Like this game we used to play as children, we know that you have to be in the right distance between one another, otherwise it'll fall. You have to check if you're strong enough to take the person, and in the 21st century you have to check if you're not on Facebook at the same time, otherwise you will fall. So this is expectations. We know that the city cannot do everything for you, but we have to understand what are the game or the rules of the game. And into that can come blockchain. Because blockchain actually enables anyone to have a certain identity. It cannot be copied. So actually you can use that to create trust. But if everyone is someone, and you can trust the person, actually in the same time, you can actually not trust the person. Because if I know your health, I can decide that you won't be able to get an insurance. If you drive lousily, or if it happened once, you won't get your driving license, or you won't get a bank account. So the issue again, so if I am someone, that means also that many people will be out of the game. So the idea about the blockchain, again, instead of looking at a national level or looking at a large city level, which is centralized, now we can be fragmented. We can now talk about smaller parts. We don't need the city to create business. We can actually start talking about peer-to-peer. But again, it's a big question. Is this uncentralized, fragmented system, is that really good for the city or for every city? Okay, because it is good for the big cities. I'm not sure if it's good for every city. So I just made a small sketch to talk about the city of the 21st century. Right now we have the city border, 1 million, 2 million people. You have one mayor and he has to manage everything. And again, since most of the people in the developing world actually are not formal, then I don't know who they are and I have to give them all the same solution for everyone. But actually what we have to start doing is start talking about communities, because cities divided into different communities, different typologies, different geographies, different people, different culture, different language, and so on. So we have to now start talking about managing communities within the city. We have to create interactions between them. So this new city, or the city of the 21st century, is actually a community of communities, which is now, this is one of them, which have different entities. We have buildings, we have people. They are different, they want to live their own life, 21st century millennials. They don't want to do what you tell them to do, but they want to also be part of a social system and they want to get known. So if you want to get known, if they want to have governance, we need a new set of tools, which is not the tools we've been using before, not the planning tools, not the managing tools we had before. So again, blockchain can do that, because again, we can talk on a different level, but actually what we need is a localized and trusted currency. Okay, so it's a big difference. We're talking one side is technology, the other side, I need a way so I can be known and trusted. So if we're talking about a nationwide project or citywide projects, then yes, it's very important to be known, because if I'm person, if I want to vote, I need people to know this is me, not someone else. Just this week, Ohio is doing a voting system which is based on blockchain for soldiers that live outside, so people will know who they are. In Honduras, they're doing system for registering real estate. Again, Estonia is doing quite a lot of projects. But actually, again, that's in a national level when there's no way that someone will know me. But if we're talking at a community, there is actually basic trust. I know my neighbor. I know who he is. I know that the driver, the guy in the cafe knows me. So actually we have basic trust. What we need a tool to enable partnerships. We wanted a tool to enable me to sell my electricity to my neighbor, to allow someone else to use my car. Instead of a shared car, my car, I'm not using, I'll give it to him, my parking lot, and so on. Enable someone to sleep in my house when I'm not there, if I don't know exactly if he's reliable or not. And I also need a tool to allow for participatory governance, which is based on demand. What is the thing that the community needs to agree upon? Now, if we're talking about these things, Brooklyn Microgrid, one of the most famous projects using blockchain to create a microgrid, when all these people here create energy on their roof and they sell it to the neighbors using blockchain. But actually, all of these people know one another. So instead of using a hidden trust, you can just use a tool to make them collaborate. This is the application these guys use. And this application just says, I want to buy energy from someone else. I want to know if it's reliable. And then I can talk to the other guys. So actually they have also a conversation tool to create a community. And actually they don't need blockchain. They just need a tool, because I see the person. Now I know who he is. Now I know he creates energy. And I prefer him than someone else who doesn't use that. As I said, blockchain for voting. But if I vote at a national level, I don't want people to know who I'm voting for. But if I'm voting for, let's say, where the bus is going to be in my neighborhood, how big is the school going to be, what are you going to learn in that school, then I can use a Facebook online tool, because I don't care that people know who I am, because we can create a dialogue that will say, okay, why don't you agree with me? Let's talk about it. So we do need an online tool, because also we want to know how many people vote for something. And this is, again, there's about 300 online free tools around in any language in the world. This is a very interesting Israeli tool. It's called Kolu. This is a digital currency, which again, there's so many digital currencies around the world. M-Pesa is an amazing digital tool. And you have also in WeChat, everyone is using that in China. But this is not a normal digital currency tool. What it does, it creates a local digital tool which puts into consideration not only the monetary value of things, but also the social value. So for example, if I buy food in the neighborhood, I get additional points or additional money, which is actually paid by the municipality. Because if I buy locally and the local small business is strong, then also money will go back to the system. So it's actually a win-win situation. If I do yoga, then actually I have a high chance to be healthier. Yes, I'll be a big chance to be healthier. And if I know these businesses, then it's okay. So now we see more and more like that. And this issue of Kolo, it used to be based on blockchain, and they decided not to. Because the whole thing was to be local and to be trusted. So they had the whole thing, which has blockchain, but without the blockchain itself. And I'm going to finish with this. Again, the question is blockchain good for cities, or I would add for every city? And again, the answer is yes and no. Again, it's good, but there are problems. Cities do need tools to reduce red tape. They do need tools to allow for reducing guarantees and so on. But also, blockchain also decentralizes privacy. That means actually that, as I said before, some people will actually be under the grid in this situation. They won't be able to access services. And again, right now, there's not too many hacking of blockchain, but already there's been one system, I think in Moldavia, I'm not sure, last week they spoke about it, that actually someone hacked into a voting system which was based on blockchain, not in the blockchain itself, but what was outside of that. Therefore, right now, what we need, definitely in African cities, and we already have issues of currency, if we add data into that, if we add sharing tools to this currency, then actually we can create community-based trust and share tools which can enable shared mobility, shared energy, and so on, at least for now. Thank you very much.
实在是有点对不起我们建筑师拉菲先生。他正讲在兴头上，怎么的也得给人家20分钟，但是这时间太有限哈。明年欢迎你再来讲，明年我特批给你多一点时间哈。本次抱歉了，谢谢啊。